Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually in the car right now, as you probably noticed. A bit loud at the place we're eating at, and food came super fast, so we're just like, you know what, we're gonna do on the way home or on the way back to work. And we decided, forget driving, we're so close, we'll just pull up in the driveway and then park lot and talk. But before I get started, I need to clarify a thing on that little sdbullion.com silver 10 ounce at spot price, that bar. I guess they're getting people wanting that Jesus bar that's 10 ounces for the at spot price special. It's not for that bar, it's specifically for the bar that they have in that advertisement thing, that coupon code. It's sdbullion.com/jsnip4. But that's not for any 10 ounce bar. It's specifically for that one 10 ounce bar they have. Reason being is it costs more money for them to get the 10 ounce Jesus bar made than it does for the other one, or whoever they're buying it from. So apparently people are doing that, wanting to use the code. They use the code and to find out that they're not able to get the Jesus bar. So he's like, if you wouldn't mind, when you mention that in your videos, just kind of clarify that. So people know in advance it's not the Jesus bar, because I do talk about that Jesus bar a lot, because I love that freaking bar where he's in there whipping the banksters out of the temple. So we were just talking about James Comey. Obviously, he got fired, and I was telling Frank, I said, look, you remember prior to the election, months prior, he had to open the investigation, Hillary email server. Democrats, the left, were up in arms. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that. There's nothing there. Why is he doing that? And they said we didn't find anything. All is good. And then they cheered him and applauded him. Yeah, okay, good clapper, good clapper. Then, as we get closer to the election, it's found out that Anthony Weiner's laptop, Huma Abedin's former, I guess, husband, or I don't know if they're separated now or what, but the emails belonging to Hillary Clinton that should have never left were handed to Abedin, and then she sent them to Anthony Weiner. They're on his laptop. So, okay, we got to open up another investigation. Once again, Democrats, you should be fired. This is the second time. They found nothing the first time. He should be fired. James Comey needs to step down. Left was screaming. She lost the election, and Donald Trump won because of that, we think. So, fast forward to now, just several months later, he fired the guy the left wanted fired. But today, all of a sudden, no, doesn't count. No, they should have never fired him. Trump, that was wrong. We need to look at impeaching Trump over this. This is, Nixonian. This is Nixonian stuff that's going on here.
Well, anybody, you talk about the Nixon and what's that guy's name, Socks or somebody that was there. If you go back in time and look at that, they tried. Nixon fired the guy, released him of his duties, but that didn't stop the investigation. It just continued anyway. So him releasing him of his duties back then is going to be the same thing as Trump relieving Comey of his duties now. So it's not going to make one bit of difference, even though the Democrats seem to think so. But remember I said the other day that Comey perjured himself a couple of times. And when he was talking about the Hillary emails, and he said we had to prove intent, we couldn't find there was any intent. This is a prime example of how classified emails went from Hillary Clinton to Huma Abedin. They should have never left her computer. They went to her computer, and I don't know if they were intercepted or if Anthony Weiner's laptop was connected to their network somehow where he was able to get that. I don't know, but they wound up on his laptop. Right off the bat, this is terrible for her. Clinton should be arrested for this. This is classified emails.
The act of her bringing a server into her house, basically, into a closet for use, communicating to all other government officials that we're pointing the finger at for this private, conversation, or these private conversations going back and forth, many of which proved, reading the emails, this is essentially a pay-to-play person.
Knowing it was,
but we can't have this on our official email. We'll be destroyed.
Right.
Which is why they did that in the first place. So there's the intent. The intent was immediately brought in as soon as she got that server.
So why wasn't anything happen? I'm tired of all the investigations. Every time you hear something going wrong, there's an investigation. Oh, we're going to open up an independent investigation. We're going to get independent people in here. Independent this Benghazi hearings. Yes, we're going to spend a lot of money on it. Whatever happens, nothing ever happens. It all goes into a black hole, never to be heard of again, never to be seen of again. I'm hoping that this James Comey thing, I'm hoping that they get somebody else in there. My personal view,
like a Sessions.
My view, well, Sessions can open the investigation too, but my hope, I think, or my take on this is, you got the Democrats who said he should have been fired and he wasn't fit for the job and there was no confidence in him, to, I can't believe you fired him. Why would you fire? Oh, you fired him because he's getting close to the Russia connection.
You've had 7-8 months now to show something that, I mean, yeah, you could have showed it before the elections, because that's when it was supposed to be happening.
Any liberals out there, if you hear us talking right now, any liberals, stop with the Russia connection. If you really cared about Russia, you would look at Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, Bill Clinton, who's the other guy? Other people in the campaign of Hillary Clinton's campaign. They're the ones who had John Kerry. They're the ones who had dealings with Russia. They're the ones who negotiated with Russia, the Russia reset. Obama was the one who looked at the Russian ambassador and said, after the election, I'll have more flexibility. What was he talking about?
Right.
There's not been one shred of evidence of Russia and Trump campaign.
Well, and he's saying, well, we need, the FBI is asking the Justice Department for a large amount of money to deal with this investigation. What do you need this? You already have the manpower. You already have people in places to do this. Yeah. You need this large amount of money. We gotta, no, you don't. You already have the personnel. It's nonsense.
There is no Russia connection. It is not there. It doesn't exist.
Would they not have used it to get Hillary elected?
Absolutely.
Here's the evidence. We got this guy swear testimony. Here's the
here it is.
Audio, the video, whatever it is. Here it is. It would have came out before the election even took place. It would have buried them, and Hillary would have said, "Look, here's what we got," and she would have won, and that would have been it.
You got a video of Trump from 10 years ago, basically saying that if you're a popular person and you're a rock star, that you could basically grab any woman you want without any problem.
Yeah.
Not that he did, that he could.
Right.
And it's 10 years ago.
And
yeah, you got a 10-year-old video of him on a bus, but you mean to tell me you can't find one proof of evidence that he was conspiring with Russia and Putin? Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Blame the Russians. Blame the Russians.
Yeah, it's ridiculous is an understatement there. But Comey perjured himself a couple of times. I'm surprised that, I was just telling Joe on the way back here, he has to be laying in bed with his wife, looking at her saying, "I can't believe I still have a job," because
at some point, yeah,
at some point he's got to be saying that, because it just doesn't make any sense of, his ego getting in the way of everything. So I'm hoping, and my thought process is that he was fired so that they can bring somebody in here to open up the Hillary Clinton email scandal again and finally prosecute somebody. I don't want this to go back into a black hole and disappear forever and ever and ever like everything else does.
Well, the fact that Sessions is the one that wrote the initial letter to Trump suggesting we need to get rid of him, we need to, basically bring confidence back into the justice system, is how I read that letter.
It was the timing. They said it was the time. The thing that made it curious was timing. But what people don't understand, it was Sessions and then Rosenberg.
Yeah.
He just got appointed like 2 weeks ago. He's only been there for 2 weeks. He's the one who also wrote a letter to Jeff Sessions and to the president that this guy had to go.
Well, yeah.
But he just got appointed like 2 weeks ago. You make of it what you want. The first thing
he's draining the swamp.
I had to turn on CNN last night when I heard it. Oh my God, I got to see what CNN is saying. And there's a loudmouth. I didn't get his name, but there's loudmouth on there saying it has to be because he was getting too close to the Trump-Russia connection. There's nothing else that explains it. Yeah, it explains he wasn't doing his job. He needed a recommendation from another person other than Jeff Sessions. That happened 2 weeks ago. Done. Step into my office because you're fired.
Do you remember the black sheriff guy that was awesome? They had him on.
David Clark.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was tweeting, if Trump were to pick me to head the FBI, I would nail Hillary or something like that. I would nail her. She'd be behind bars or something like that as soon as I got in there. Yeah, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, why don't you go ahead and make that move, because that would be fantastic. And we have got to restore the rule of law. You cannot have this, you know, political elite who are never touched. Nothing can happen. And like Trump said, Sessions, you know, if he wants to go after Hillary, he wants to go any further with Hillary, that's up to him. I'm not going to stop him. He can do whatever he needs to do. So the fact that he got rid of the head of the FBI, I've got fingers crossed that maybe, just maybe, we may have something here.
That's what my
not going to hold my breath,
that's
but
my hope.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic. I'd love nothing more than to come running out to my car in the middle of the day. Breaking news!
Breaking news!
Breaking news! About to have a heart attack. They're going to go after Clinton. They're charging her with, you know.
No, I would. With some of the people we work with, I would not want to run outside. I would run through the building.
Yeah, I'd probably run to their office first and then come out.
Yeah. I would run through the building.
Couple people.
All those people who thought that she was innocent, here you go. But I would obviously wait until she actually got in prison before I said anything, because just opening an investigation is not going to do it for me. What else do we have? Barack Obama, the king of hypocrites.
Saw that today. I already see your note.
Yep. Spent $2.5 million.
Not spent.
Got $2.5 million from the Italian government. Aren't they the ones who sequestered, like, you know, they were broke and their
banking system's in verge of collapse as we speak.
Yeah, and they're taking everybody's 401ks and all that stuff over there, I think. Anyway, their banking system receives $2.5 million to go over there and give a speech and on carbon emissions, and winds up taking a 14-car caravan with him.
Oh, of course, polluting all the way.
Yeah, pollute all the way home. That's a.
Gotta love it.
You know,
after getting $400,000 from Wall Street, goes over there $2.5 million.
$2.5 million to speak.
Climate stuff.
About climate change. Yeah. Something else that I don't know if it's true or not. Something I read today. Somebody I read it from today said they're not sure they're true enough. They tried to verify it. So this is completely unverified. I did not see it. But apparently, WikiLeaks made an offer to hire James Comey.
I saw it. they did post it. I saw it. I did see the tweet. It could have been jokingly, but they did. But it was a post from them.
So,
love it.
No way. If they were to do that, you can imagine the kind of stuff that he would head their DC office. I think that would be.
He's part of the club. He ain't.
Maybe.
See, I told my subscribers the other day. I said, look, matter of fact, it may have been in a video from today. I said, let's not forget who James Comey is. The guy I refer to a lot, Martin Armstrong, with his economic confidence model cycle. The guy's got data going back, you know, before Christ. Just compiled the most massive, in-depth database ever of all the movements of money and everything. He makes these incredibly accurate forecasts and did very well in the early part of the 2000s, you know, 2001 to his own story was that I'm in jail. They've locked me up, essentially for no real charges. They wanted my tool, and I refused to give it to them. And I got locked up, essentially, for it. So it's dragged on for a few years. He was still in jail. He said that I finally got released, and the only way they would let me release me was if I agreed that I was part of this thing and took investors' money on this business venture that I had. And I had to admit, not full guilt, but this, whatever. And since I had a 10-year term and I already served 5, I'd be able to get, or 4, whatever, I'd be able to get out like next year. And they basically told me, if you don't do this, we'll just let this drag on for the next 20 or 30 years. They flat out told them that. Guess who was the district attorney, prosecutor, something during that time frame? James Comey. Helped lock this guy up. So
yeah, probably not going to.
He's not joining WikiLeaks. Yeah, he's certainly not going to.
Probably not. I'm a little bit disappointed that Trump and the White House are saying that Julian Assange should be put in jail.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know, without Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, I'm not sure.
We would not have known this stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not sure Trump would have been elected.
Yes. I don't know that he would have even made it without WikiLeaks.
So I don't know if that's coming from Trump in the White House or if that's coming from Jeff Sessions in the White House, but I have to believe in my heart of hearts that Trump is not going to let that happen.
Yeah, I feel like, kind of like with the Syria thing, everyone's getting all up in arms. All right, I'm going to let me do a limited strike. And then when we actually looked at where they hit, oh, well, the Russians had an advance notice who gave the Syrian guys, so they moved their stuff out of the... Oh, okay.
We
so
only destroyed
a little bit of a head fake.
Yeah, we only destroy their runway so they can't take off planes, and we bombed some of their planes.
Right.
And we didn't touch the gas.
Very minor.
It was just enough to say, we know where your crap is, so let's knock it off, or we're going to...
Right, and I have to do this because I got a lot of pressure at home, so just relax.
Yeah.
So, again, I keep saying he's a smart guy. He is a smart guy, so I see him make these moves, I'm like, oh no, come on, you're being had, you've been played, and then, wait a minute, you know what? Actually, that's not going.
You were played. Yeah, you were played by CNN and MSNBC and the media. You know.
Yep. And then they got played because they thought he was doing what they wanted him to do, which upset us. Only to find out that, well, wait a minute, he didn't really do anything with it.
You know, the difference between me and you is we thought we got played until we saw the real story, and these liberals that we deal with and that we know, they did get played and continue to get played because they don't want to see. Really, they just want to go right.
Well, that's the difference. A liberal is told how and what to think by a special group, and that's their line. That's what they say. Whatever it is, we'll tell the line. That's what we'll say. It's not anything they came up with themselves. It's nothing they research themselves. This is what I subscribe to. That's the belief. It's like my religion. So this is what I will spit no matter what happens.
Well, of course, because they say that Hillary has a 99.86% chance of winning. So why wouldn't you want to follow that?
Of course, I want to be the winner. I want to be the winner.
I want to win her. I want to win her. Let's see, last thing I got down here, Rand Paul. He is opening an investigation. He sent letters for, I don't know if it was Freedom of Information, but for the Senate Intelligence Committee, 3 different committees that he wants to see if he was one of those that were outed, or one of those that was, unmasked, if you will, and spied upon. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. At least he might be able to obtain who else was unmasked that shouldn't have been unmasked. Right,
and on the way home, I've got the radio on and stuff. I'm listening to talk. Usually it's Hannity, I think, by the time I get home.
Yeah.
And he's talking about all these, like that unmasking, and when we're not sure who unmasked and how it got it. Come on. I write the database program here where we work, so don't tell me for 1 second you don't know who requested what. There is a paper trail and there is a digital trail. Absolutely. Who requested it, who authorized the request, when it was authorized, how long did it take to authorize, when they got the stuff, what they actually looked at, it's all there.
I'm not buying that, because remember, Lois Lerner's hard drive crashed.
Oh yeah.
And then her backup hard drive crashed.
And 100 other people related.
And everybody else that she emailed, their hard drive crased. So
I forgot about that.
Anything is possible.
And I don't know if we said this last time, that someone's, I don't know if it was Sessions or somebody, somewhere is opening up an investigation into her little butt.
Good. Let's do it.
So I'm like, yeah, keep going, man. Keep going. Give the guy something. 100 days, 100 days. He's not doing it. He's done a lot in 100 days.
He's done an enormous amount. If you listen to
Give him some time. You can see the uphill battle he has dealing with these people. But he just did, again, a massive draining. Like, he just took a chunk. He just came in with an excavator and scooped out a big chunk of that swamp.
Dozer.
Yeah, no guts, no glory.
D10 Dozer.
Jack Hoffman.
Yes,
D10 Dozer. That's it.
Came in
there, scooped it out. Except there wasn't no flakes of gold in that one.
A lot of people in the FBI are applauding this, that I read, and other than them being happy, from what I understand, there's a lot of senators that have been afraid. There's been a fear of James Comey and the wrath of James Comey. So a lot of them have kept their mouths shut. Yep. They haven't said a lot of things. They haven't gone after FBI or the intelligence or anything because they feared James Comey. Somebody in that position is not somebody who should be feared by any citizen or any senator or sitting congressman in this country. You should not be in fear for yourself and what's going on with you. They were in fear that they were going to say something and they would be investigated and they would be, things would be added to their whatever.
Well, look, today we're talking about the day and age right now. They've got the technology to put anything they want on any computer they want,
and make
whenever
it seem like
they want.
It came from Russia.
And it was child, pornography, this and that. It's on this guy's hard drive, who just so happens to be protesting the government right now and is exposing things against them. So let's dump this on him, make it look like him. We'll put it in front of a jury. FBI, with its prestigious, background, the jury will believe us way before they believe some schmuck citizen who's been investigating for child porn. I don't blame him either for being scared.
Yep.
Yeah, same thing. So
hopefully that's gone. That's a big. That's pulling the plug on the swamp for sure.
That's a big one.
So let's see who gets put in his place, and let's see what happens with the rest of the FBI, how they fall into place. Let's see what investigate. I don't think they're going to tell us about the investigations that are open anyway.
No.
But let's just hope in the next year and a half, you know, if you listen to fake news, Trump hasn't done anything in 100 days, and he needs a win. By golly, he's got to have a win on something.
Well, if I'm going with fake news, I just saw the win today, last night actually, with the firing. That was a win. If you want to call it that, that's a huge win.
Yeah. And all the liberals, it's just shocking to me. Tucker, if you guys don't watch Tucker Carlson, awesome. DVR it, watch it.
Yeah, he's good.
He's got the one guy on last night who's I think he was part of the Hillary Clinton first campaign in 2008. And Tucker says, you know, anybody who knows anything knows that James Comey had to go. So what's the difference? Well, I think the timing is suspicious. Now he got close to Russia. He goes, nothing with Russia. So nothing there.
If he fired him the day he took office, if Trump did, or the week he took office, January, end of January, I'm letting Comey go. Is that okay? Is the timing suspicious then?
Yeah,
no?
Maybe because he doesn't. They got something to blame on the Russians.
Right, there's always something.
Conspiracy theorists on the Russians. And Rachel Maddow last night, she was, you know, God, what a tear fest. She was trying to hold back the tears. And same thing. It's the Russia connection. He got too close. This is what it had to be. There's no other, no other reason for it. And
the legacy media, you already showed your cards.
Yeah,
you guys are done. Nobody believes you anymore. So you can get your fake people on there and the fake tears and everything else.
This guy was talking, and he said that you know, the timing is so suspicious, and Tucker just flat out asked him, do you think it's a good decision to have Comey in office or to have Comey gone? And just like any typical liberal, or politician really for that matter, you beat around the bush and you don't ever give a straight answer. And of course, Tucker had to look at him over and over again and say, are we better off with Comey out or with Comey in? And reluctantly, he kind of skated over the fact that it's probably a good thing that Comey's not there. But he was trying to fight it the whole way. That's why you got to love Tucker. The man does his homework. He knows what he's doing. And
yep,
it's fun that when he watches these people squirm in their seats.
I love it. Yeah, he had some good ones on.
Nothing like it.
Fantastic.
I just wait for him to get Maxine Waters on. The woman who said, impeach Trump, get ready for the impeachment, on her Twitter feed over and over again.
It's coming. Here
and then
is.
When she was questioned, what? I never said Trump was going to be impeached. I've got all of your tweets here, and all of your. Let me play these back for you over and over again about he should be impeached, get ready for the impeachment. Well, no, I never said that. So, if you don't know Maxine Waters, she's got to be the most ignorant person in Congress. I don't know how this woman got elected over
She's
and over
up there
again.
with me in my ranking of garbage is with Pelosi.
Pelosi, Reed, Waters, you know, and they go up there with Reverend, and I don't even call
and
Reverend,
even
Jesse and
Pocahontas.
Elizabeth Warren, just sickening.
And I've heard her give a few speeches before, like, oh wow, she's Wall Street, good for her. And then you see all this other crap. It's like, oh my God, what is wrong with this woman? She's got split personalities. What is this?
Yeah, she's an Indian, apparently.
Yeah, so-called.
Yeah. What do you think about? You know, Obama said he took the job for out the money. He just got paid $400,000 to give a 30-minute speech. Well, you know, I don't think that was the right thing to do. No, if that would have been somebody else, you would have been down their throat.
You wouldn't have said that.
But because it was your party, you were just like, yeah, well, I just don't agree with it.
I can't make the team look bad. Got to make the team look good at all costs.
Well, Democrats are good at that.
Yeah,
Democrats are great about doing that. Republicans not so much. But yeah, that's it.
Yep. So until next time.
Until next time.
That's it. See ya.